Scott asks if Jean is alright, but she tells him that she's not Jean, that she is something more as she knocks him back. Feeling amazing from the flow of power within her, Reed Richards asks what's happening to her, and she tells him it would interest him greatly as he moves to subdue her. Afraid for her, Scott wonders if it's something the Xenocs have done to her as he moves to shoot her with an optic blast to save Mr. Fantastic. Hardly fazed from the attack, she knows he held back due to his love for Jean as she ignites and kills him. Beast leaps in, asking her what she's done, trying to grapple her as she proceeds to do the same to him. Jean is then struck from behind as Crystal emits her own form of energy, confident in her ability to control it. Believing that she can turn back any energy unleashed upon her, Jean doubts it. She releases torrents of power into Crystal, overwhelming her when Scott is suddenly shaking her out of a trance, asking her if she's okay, and Mr. Fantastic wonders if the Xenocs assaulted her psychically. Dazed and confused, Cyclops informs her that the enemy are hitting even harder. Looking out, she hears him tell her that Hank and the others are in the middle of the battle and that he and Crystal are picking them off as Reed tells them the ship unfortunately has no weapons. He tells them that their powers will have to do as Jean remembers that that was all they had last time. Beast then returns to the hangar, bringing news that they are too greatly outnumbered against the enemy. Deciding to try something different, Reed alters some controls which moves the ship to the annoyance of the Thing as he was wanting to continue fighting. Johnny flies after him, wondering if his teammate lost control of the ship as it heads to the planet's atmosphere. Back at the mansion, the robot brings candy to Xavier at her insistence, and he's angered at her interruption as he loses contact with the X-Men. Asking why she's there, she tells him that she must speak with Warren. He tells her that he's not yet to return from his last mission and wants to know if it's an emergency, which she tells him it depends. Returning to the Fantastic Four, Reed instructs Crystal to reel the Thing back inside to the Orange Behemoth's disappointment. Having an idea on how to solve their problems, Johnny watches outside as the ship heads straight for the enemy base as the leader yells for everyone to hang on. He then proceeds to crash the ship into the main tower of the base. The Human Torch joins them shortly as Reed and the others exit the ship, only to be met with another one of the stars spawn as it guards the doorway forward. Jean is unable to move it telekinetically, and Cyclops notices she seems to be back to normal as he blasts the alien's face. He tells the other team that last time they could only elude it, and Reed decides that will have to do as he takes Ben and Beast. The two express doubts as they follow the scientist when they arrive at a room that he informs them is the center of the Xenocs gravity drive. Examining the machine, Reed sees that it reaches the center of the Xenocs world as he stretches into it to modify the machine. The Thing still wants to know what he's doing as Mr. Fantastic begins explaining with a grin, knowing his friend won't understand a word he's saying. Back with the X-Men, Jean notices that this alien is different and that it's adapting to their powers. Seeing that she's right, he yells for everyone to attack the same spot, and Crystal decides that the best spot would be right between its eyes. Unleashing their powers, all four of them blast the creature in the face. The creature falls, and Crystal wonders if it's dead, but Jean still detects signs of life from it. We then change to the Savage Land as Bobby awakens, still unable to remember anything at all, and Lycos isn't surprised. He tells the young teen that after being found near death, memory loss is fortunately all he got as he thinks to himself what would happen if he recalled being a member of the X-Men. Back on the alien homeworld, Jean leads them to the other team telepathically, and they see that Reed is stretched into the hole, and Scott wonders if Jean can contact Hank. Doing so, she asks what's happening, and he tells them what they're doing, and Reed, understanding what's going on, tells Beast to inform the others to return to the ship for immediate takeoff. Ben hears something in his friend's voice as Richard tells him they can't continue further due to the pressure from the deepness of the hole. Ben, though, volunteers to continue as he isn't affected and goes downward, eventually finding the machine he needs as Reed instructs him on a headset and plugs everything in. The machine begins moving though, and Mr. Fantastic figures they've been detected, and the gravity drive activates with only seconds before the modifications begin working. Dismissing the dangers, Beast uses the leader as a bungee cord, falling and grabbing Ben Grimm and snapping back up before the pressure affects him. They quickly return to the ship and leave the orbit of the planet as it begins disappearing. Cyclops wonders where they've gone, and Richards tells him that he sent them to the negative zone and they must learn to survive there and become self-sufficient. Hank recommends they head home to the agreement of the others. Elsewhere, in the state of Illinois, we see a young 10-year-old girl named Ashley Martin as she plays with her dolls. She is oblivious to her surroundings and engrossed in her fun until there is a loud noise behind her. Looming menacingly over her is a sentinel as it reaches for the little girl.